Okay, we should be live.
We'll call the May 9th meeting of the Carroll County Administrative Transportation Committee to order. And are we still one short? So if we do get someone to come in before we adjourn, then we will take care of the minutes from the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're, oh my gosh, we're gonna make it.
Yes.
Look at
No, we're
You're not late.
excited.
You're here.
Okay.
Market improvement.
Does that mean we have a quorum? Is that why you're
Yes.
cheering for me?
Yes.
Okay.
For the first time in
All right.
A year and a half.
Well,
Since COVID.
Okay.
yeah. So I think the next order of business, I don't have the agenda in front of me, is the approval of the minutes. And thank you very much. Yeah, so we're looking at the approval of the minutes from November 9th, 2021, February 8th, 2022, May 10th, 2022, August 9th, 2022, November 15th, 2022, February 14th, 2023. Without objection, minutes are approved as presented.
Here. Consent, right?
Consent.
Consent.
Are we good with that? Okay, motion carries. Next order is traffic counts.
That will be me.
We could have done a first and second on that.
After this long.
All right.
We don't care.
So recap on traffic counts generally. We do these yearly in Carroll County. Those are on a 3-year cycle, so we count the same location every 3 years, mostly. We do change up the locations. If we have a particular, piece of data we like to collect, we do vary them up a little bit. Each year we do 65 counts, and we're still in the middle of collecting our calendar year 23 counts. We still got 5 or something more weeks to go before we collected all of them. But the Armory Road counts outside the school were something that both committees were very interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And we already have that data because they were the first ones we did this year to compare 2022 outside the school versus 2023. And in between those 2 years, we had the Hawk signals installed outside of schools. So we wanted to see the impact of those. So here I have the data. And so first we can look at the segment of Armory Road between 800 West and Masonic Street. So on the left, I have the 2022 data, and on the right, the 2023 data. And so you can see here on this table, by hour, hourly bin, how fast, miles per hour, different people are going. And the speed limit there, I think, is 25 we determined. So anybody, this 26 and above, those are people speeding outside of school, not good. So these are the total counts. And if I scroll down, maybe it's a little bit easier to see the percentage counts to see a difference. And you can see here in 2023, there's a lot more people here in this below the speed limit bracket, which is good. You can see that difference from one to the other. And
That's encouraging.
yeah.
Yes.
And if I go down, I think the best way to kind of visualize this is the graph. So these are kind of color coded. So the lower, the grays and the yellows are appropriate speeds, and the reds and oranges are not. From left to right, you can see there's more yellow and gray.
We don't see it.
Oh, my thing here is yelling at me. I was very excited to show you the charts. Let me turn it off and on again. That'll fix it.
Anecdotally, I always wondered if those actually impacted anything, but you guys obviously just what you do for a living, and this is tremendous. So that's really great.
Oh no, let me unplug it up. It's gonna work. No, it's unhappy.
So investment in the signals is helping, and also I think we've had increased patrols on Armory Road, so yeah.
All right, we'll make this work. Hold on. I promise worked last meeting. Oh no.
I've never seen this before.
I promise I didn't touch anything. I was just using it like usual. Let me unplug it again. And also, my computer is unhappy at me. I wonder if we've dropped our stream.
Yeah, I don't think you're.
Yeah. Oh, please no.
Usually screen share freezing is
Yes, yes,
just
yes.
because of connection
Yeah.
or sometimes you have to stop sharing and reshare to get connection back. So let's try this again.
All right, looks like we're still streaming, so that's good news at least. Let's try.
And the TV is loading right now, so we should be able to get you. Bit odd.
Let me try the other dongle. Maybe that'll be happier.
Yeah, but the TV's just kind of doing its thing.
It doesn't like a quorum.
Clearly.
Now you should be able to
All right.
insert and then click once it turns red.
Okay. We'll take it real slow. But I have some time to think. Okay. London.
I'm sorry, maybe it's flashing white and then red means it's sharing.
Yeah, once it's red, it's sharing. It's still reconnecting. Okay, this looks better.
Money, big money, big money. All right.
No.
Oh,
No.
I can just turn my. Maybe I can. Oh, that looks good to me. Hooray! Thank you. It looks good. All right. All right. All right.
Oh, there.
Thank you. Okay. So, yeah. So you can see from the left graph here in 2022 to the right one in 23, there's more yellows and grays here. So that's good. That means fewer people speeding. Less of these deep reds. Just overall. And again, that was on Armory Road between 800 West and Masonic Street. So we took 2 stations outside the school. The other one is between Heritage Drive and 421. So again, we have those hourly bins, which are a little bit harder to look at. Look at the percentage. So this one,
this Heritage is the elementary.
yeah, I think it's right outside, like right as you come off
Yeah,
the.
it's where the bank is.
Oh, okay.
So it's real close to 421.
Yeah. So the percentages, it's maybe a little bit less clear from here. But if we look at the chart again, you'll see also big improvement here. This one is really noticeable. So you see tons of grays, lots of yellows, much fewer of these oranges and reds. So
Very good.
So maybe you can use this data to justify future hawk signals or other, similar projects, even if you don't have, maybe injury or fatality data or other justifications. But you can see it made an impact outside the school as hawk signals. And again, for traffic counts, the data we can collect, we can get volume data, we can get class data, which is, what type of vehicle. We can get the speed data like we did here. So if there's projects you'd like to justify or impacts you'd like to study, we can do those. With some notice for planning for our next year's application station locations. So, yeah, I thought this was really great to look at.
Excellent.
So, we got some good value out of that project.
Indeed, we did. Yeah, that's great.
So, I think that's it for traffic counts, unless anyone had questions.
So, did we get one on 950 for you?
If we have, I haven't looked at it yet. So, yeah, once we're all done with all of them, I'll come and show you the results. And that'll be in
And that would have been for this year, right? I think we talked about one of them.
I think we had, I think I
It
did.
was for this year.
So,
And that would be a summer rollout this year.
yeah, we're taking counts right now. So we started taking those in April. We're still taking them.
Until June, you think, or?
I think we should be done in, let's see, it's 1/5, first, second week of.
The only reason is because that's a seasonal pathway, so I would love to be able to see like the campers and everyone, like at least through Memorial Day
Oh,
or a
okay.
couple weekends after, just for the simple fact that like that's that's when everybody's busting out.
I see. Yeah, I think,
So wouldn't it be like the school trying to take counts on Armory in the summertime
Yeah.
compared to?
yeah, I think we should be done by the end of June.
That would be helpful, at least get that spring snapshot for that area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you want to add it to next year's study as well, if you really want to get a particular time, we can look at doing that. So send me an email so don't forget.
Yep, no worries. No problem.
Thank you. All right. I guess that's it for accounts then. All right, we'll let it rest. All right.
Okay. State Transportation Improvement Program?
Yep. So the State Transportation Improvement Program is currently in its public comment period. And there are a couple of meetings coming up where it will be taking public comments about projects that are on the state roads. So not to put that on the spot too much again, but so this is something that, every couple of years the state will do. They will ask for these kinds of comments. It is something that's pretty technical, and I think most folks might not necessarily have an interest in unless you're kind of really into this. So it's something that is relevant for people in the profession, but maybe not super accessible to common citizens. So Matt, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I mean, as we talked about the last meeting, as you just stated too, it is pretty technical. So from a customer standpoint coming in, a lot of times they're not sure why they're there or what they're doing there. But it does foster communication about what projects we're doing and why we're doing them and things like that. So as I just mentioned on the previous meeting, if there's any questions on the STIP, I mean, the open house is a great place to do that, but don't hesitate to reach out to the district too and get questions answered a little more easily and personally.
From what I remember seeing in terms of an announcement, there were 4 different locations that were hosting open houses. And each location kind of has 2 different time options. There's like an afternoon time slot and an evening time slot to try to make accommodations for people's different scheduling needs. And additionally, they do take comments virtually as well. So these meetings have a virtual component where you can get things in. So in the past, what we've done in Tippecanoe County is if we have specific comments about state projects in our area, and we will attend these meetings and then make those comments so that they can be formally in the portion of the state that covers Tippecanoe. So if that's something that Carroll County would have an interest in doing, then certainly something that can be done. So we just kind of wanted to make you guys aware of this, just in case you are interested and hadn't heard about that. This is kind of
I've heard about it, so.
I see public notice. I think it's quite a bit in my email because I subscribe to DWD and DOT and all the. So I guess I have not dug in to see if that happens for other regions too, right?
Yeah, so we were talking about this in the previous meeting too, is that unfortunately, I when you mentioned the open houses, I wasn't even off the top of my head of where they were or when, because we used to schedule those out of our LaPorte district. Now central office is scheduling them, and the format to encourage participation has changed year over year over year. In the past, we had it only in the LaPorte district at the LaPorte offices. Then we started branching out and having multiple across the whole day, and none of them really foster a lot of participation because again, it is very technical. So so when it comes to these meetings, yeah, I didn't know off the top of my head where they were. I'd have to look them up myself. You probably have to look up where they are, but I mean, they are useful for a formal public comment if you have something about that's on STIP. Beyond that, again, I'm happy to facilitate that from a district perspective.
The safe streets for all.
Okay, so this is something that, so we had gotten some emails that were kind of floating around about this process. So we do have a little bit of experience with this ourselves. We are considering doing something similar for Tippecanoe County. So just kind of wanted to share what we'd experienced with you guys, so that you can kind of have some of that same knowledge, and hopefully that can kind of inform what you would do going forward. So really quickly to introduce this for anyone on the committee who might not be familiar with the process. So the Safe Streets for All program is a grant-based funding program that was introduced in the most recent transportation legislation that came out at the end of 2021. And so there are two different types of grants you can apply for. So one is a planning and implementation grant, which is the type that this action plan would be under. And the other is an implementation grant, which is basically just a physical project in the ground. So kind of the general process is that you would put together an action plan first, and then one of the components of that action plan would be potential future projects. And then you can use the action plan as kind of a springboard to then apply for some of the projects via an implementation grant. So my understanding is that you guys have been able to partner with someone out of White County to kind of look at that. I think that's what the email said. I just kind of saw a little bit of it.
I don't know. That's, I've not
I
heard.
thought I saw something about like a regional effort. It was an email from Edwin as well.
Oh, Safe Streets for All. So, yes, it wasn't called Safe Streets for All. It was, maybe his conjecture on it was different. Yes. If it's the same thing, basically he said that there was money for safety planning.
Yes.
So, I guess I didn't get the details on this. This had like action or implementation to it. So maybe Edwin did do a very good job of projecting it. And I did talk to one of the commissioners about it, but I guess I should probably have more information if I'm going to bring it out, because my initial thought was safety planning is okay, but is it a priority where we're sitting right now?
It includes truck routes, it is.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I mean, I can, if there's still time, the conversation was had with the commissioner, so I think we could talk about what that.
But we would need to know about that at the city level too.
Yeah.
So then maybe let me pivot just a little bit. So this is like a cyclical grant. So, every year or whatever, they'll have an application deadline. And then if you do choose to apply for an action plan, you can get like 80% of the cost of developing one of those paid for. So it's an 80-20 split. And typically the way most communities have done that is they've hired a consultant and had them, go and like look at mostly crash data, kind of sort through that and identify potential areas of need. And so that can be not just necessarily injuries and fatalities. You can also use like near miss data as well. I've heard of that being a thing that communities have utilized to be awarded some projects. So there's several different approaches, but it does have a safety component, and of course it also, again, isn't just for people in vehicles. It can also be safety for your vulnerable users, like your pedestrians, your bicyclists, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I guess it was portrayed, when Edwin reached out, it was about inquiring if the county would be interested. I was just under the impression that he maybe reached out to the communities individually.
No.
So I think we could probably circle back around on that, because my gut initially was saying, yeah, 3rd Street in Florida would be a great, and we have it's terribly unsafe. Now, I don't know if we have data to support that. That'd be the problem, is like we don't have reports, but we will.
Kids on a street by the park running triaxles is unsafe.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't know what you're meaning.
It is
Yeah.
very scary, and we could probably tell a compelling story. And same with the truck route for Delphi. I think that probably the municipalities would be in a better position to look into those plans, at least coming up with a plan on both those topics.
So then just kind of to put a bow on this. So what we've seen from talking to other people in the industry is that, so between these two different branches of the SS4A implementation grant, at least for the first cycle, there's only been one cycle. For the first cycle, they had 3 times as much money requested as was available. So it was very, very competitive. And in order to get an award, you do need to have some type of safety plan in place. There are a couple different ways you can do that. Some communities use what they call a Vision Zero plan, which is another type of safety plan. But this Safe Streets for All action plan is another specific type that was kind of tailored for this grant. So kind of the general flow is, you put together a safety action plan, and then with that, then you go for an implementation plan.
What's a monetary value that these consultants get hired at, or what's a?
Yep. So that is going to depend on the size of your community, and how many. So if you try and do this for a couple different counties, right? If you're partnering with someone, you're likely to get sort of an economies of scale discount. So I'm going to have a hard time giving you an exact estimate of what it would be for Carroll County. Just to be totally honest with you, I don't have enough familiarity with what price points you would be looking at. But it is a study that can potentially pay off in that, if you do get a project awarded, it'll pay for 80% of that. So if you think, a couple $1 million, you get 80% of that paid for, that's already more than paid for whatever you're going to put in.
Right.
So just wanted to make you guys aware of that and say that, since this is something that we also are going through in Tippecanoe County, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. Even if we aren't directly involved in your application process, we're kind of trying to sort out what approach we want to take to.
Would anyone know firms that are currently doing that, or who are you guys using, if you don't mind?
Well, we don't have some. We put together an RFP to solicit.
Fair.
So I can't tell you because I don't know.
That's a good reason.
Who typically does? Can you give me a name?
Oh, sure. A lot of the big consulting firms. So I don't know if all these work in your area, but so someone like Kimley Horn, United Consulting, people who do planning work.
Yep, that's all.
Those types of people. Not to say that there are others that can't do that. There's just 2 that.
Cities use Kimley Horn on a number of projects.
Okay. Yeah, not to
Sure.
give any
No,
recommendations.
it's just good to know.
That's
Just those
Yeah.
I'm not your world, so to me, it's
Yeah.
all just,
Just
it's all just
wanted to know
fodder.
who's in the arena, so. So, meeting membership time and location, is that important?
Yes. Okay, so first of all, I guess let me start off by thanking the EDC for letting us use this space for the last couple of years. But we do know that you guys are moving.
Tentatively. We're exploring, but I think we're probably safe to meet here again.
One more meeting.
Oh,
One more meeting, yeah. We'll have more clarity by the next meeting.
Okay,
So,
we'll coordinate.
yes. So Shannon's hopefully been good to work with. And
So we're going back to the courthouse then? Is that
Well, that's then the next thing to talk about is, so it would certainly help if we can meet here one more time. That gives us a little more runway to decide. But, if you guys are indeed moving, then we would need to talk about potential sites. And along with that conversation, this is a good time then to talk about, is this really the best time for this committee to meet? Because we know that people have schedules, and especially some of the members on this board have other commitments that just don't allow them to make it to these meetings. So that does make it a little challenging to get a quorum. So one potential alternative then is to be able to have those members appoint some proxies. So currently, just as an example, so the EDC is not a voting member, but, you know, if they would represent someone's interest, perhaps the county commissioners could appoint someone from the EDC as an official proxy voting representative. And I don't want to make these decisions for you, but just a hypothetical example. So that would be like one way we could potentially get someone who would be more available at the time. Then we can also move what time we're at. So we're not necessarily married to this Tuesday at 3 p.m. time, right? We're even willing to do an evening meeting. We did bring that option up at the last committee, and they were not very interested in the evening option. That's okay. But you know, if you guys are more interested in that, that is on the table. Additionally, we can also go to like a virtual only option if that would help people. So we're willing to kind of explore different options. We just want to make sure that we can make it more convenient for people to come to this, whether that be through changing the time, changing the venue, changing the way of meeting to virtual, or whatever. I mean, those things are fine with us. We want to make sure, you know, that participation is possible. So that's just what we're considering. Additionally, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the same day as the meeting with the technical committee that we have previously. You know, historically, we've had these two meetings back to back when we've, you know, traveled up here. But if we can get people to these meetings more regularly, we are willing to come up twice a quarter if we have to.
What's the other meeting?
It's a technical committee meeting, so that has like engineers, highway department, law enforcement officers. NDOT is on both these, so yeah.
I mean, I think that having them on the day where there's a council commissioner meeting is probably helpful for, I won't speak for you guys, but it seems
Well, I was
like-
gonna say, like, I'm here on the third Thursday, like, from dusk to dawn. And so, like, we did third Thursday at 3. I'm not saying that the world needs to bend to my, you know, desire, but I know I will be in Delphi every third Thursday, basically, all day long.
And then Commissioner Pearson takes that Thursday off, so he's clear that day.
You might be able to
So I was able to get him to a groundbreaking on that day.
Thursdays for you.
Yeah, I would be good at that. Yep.
We have our board meetings typically, or some kind of EDC meeting, so it would have to be afternoon, but, and of course you have council and commissioners have at 9 a.m. So an afternoon, third Thursday would increase our probability. How about that? I guarantee.
So maybe one other way we could do that, if we could find a venue, is check and see if that would also work for the tech and see if we can back to back, or if we have to come up twice again.
Yeah, if we move, we'll have 90-day runway, and I don't look for that to even be issued until even June. So we would be fine going into the summer meeting here, and then if there's changes after that, quarterly, then what we look at third quarter.
We could certainly volunteer the council chamber at the city building now. If the courthouse for whatever reason might not be available at the time that works for everyone.
Yeah, so I know Ari is fearlessly scribbling. So we are going to send out an email to kind of try to nail this down, because, you know, we do also understand that although we're very glad we did have a quorum this time, there are still a few other members we would like to see, try to reach out to, especially with the option of appointing proxies. Just because, you know, we realize that it's the same way with all of our committees in Tippecanoe County too. You know, sometimes there are two things at the same time, and so it's really helpful to be able to divide and conquer, and, you know, have one staff member go to one and one go to the other. That's just the reality of life. So we will send out some emails to this effect. So be on the lookout for those. Okay, so thank you for that update, Jake.
Okay, so while we're here, did anyone want to appoint a proxy for yourselves while we're talking about this? If you had someone in mind, or
We could all make good.
you could, yeah.
Just kidding. So before we do the 18-month letting list, have we talked about State Road 218, the potential widening of that with the
Yeah, we had reached out about potential project there, 218 in the Heartland. Even follow-on conversations. It does have a shoulder, but it would likely have to extend that shoulder back, I think was kind of discussion. But yeah, that's becoming an increasing priority for us. The city's doing a utility study currently to extend water and wastewater out there. It's been rezoned, it's been tipped, and we do have a company out there that is very interested in pursuing that as a possibility. But they obviously, we're just going to need likely more road space out there. They already parked that shoulder. Yeah, they already parked that shoulder pretty heavily during during comp season, so it is utilized. And then you add something across the street, and it becomes problematic. And then secondarily, we're working with Norfolk and Southern, because if there's ingress egress into that location across the street, if there is a facility there, then that main line could become a backup issue back into the Heartland from if you're going eastbound on 218. So how do we mitigate train stoppage, not backing up a 4-lane state road? So that recently came up in the last conversation. Is what if that's the case? Then right now I don't think we're in quite that scenario, but I would hate would not be a.
But this could be a rail served site, fairly long stretch, as I recall from the
1,000 feet of rail security.
So I mean, it brings everything into play, basically.
Yeah.
But with the Andersons there and the heavy volume that they already have, and they plan to perhaps do an expansion. So, which is one of the reasons for the getting water and sewer up to that site, along with the other parcels that are on either side of 218.
Have you had conversations with anybody in DOT to this point yet then?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We probably, the next steps will be to actually set a formalized meeting with Scott Tatro, which is their operations manager, or he's a VP out of Maumee, and he'll be able to kind of explain what that operation would look like and could look like, so that we can best scope on the NDOT side. So would it be you that we could work?
You can certainly reach out to me, and if I'm not the right person, then I'll be in contact with top people.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to just ping you guys, because it really isn't a big deal, or no action needs to be taken, but if a domino falls, then all of a sudden now.
Who have you guys had a chance to talk to yet?
I'll go back through my email and figure out who we pass that information along.
Sure.
So,
But knowing that, those road projects have a long lead time, we certainly want to get on the radar. Let's see. And I guess there's also the Abbey Libby Park entrance that's kind of right on that shoulder too. So if they have games during harvest season and the trucks,
there you.
Yeah, we may need to try to find another.
And that, I'm thinking even a light over that eventually, but then again, yeah, that would have to be.
It's one of those areas we just need to study and come up with a game plan. Lots going on right there.
Yeah, and then we have more in I just had a pipe dream, but we can talk about it later.
Well, the next thing is the 18-month letting. So if there's something else you want to bring up before then.
I did have a conversation last year, one conversation with Mayor Moore in Kokomo, and I've had two conversations with Mayor Resorski in Lafayette about connecting Kokomo and Lafayette via 4-lane. I think I brought it up here before. And I just want, and this is 25 years out probably, but we would love to be able to help facilitate, if Carroll County is involved in that conversation, of connecting those two cities, specifically with everything that's going on in both of them with the battery leak going likely in the north side, everything going on with Lafayette growing east. And so, and then that corridor passes more vehicles than the Heartland does. And the Heartland's 4 lanes. So obviously you guys just redid the whole, like redid 26. So it probably wouldn't be likely to be anything in the near future, but I don't know what conversations we could have or what needs to happen, but I think I could get at least Mayor Wazorski and Mayor Moore at the table. Talk about.
Is your thought to have it rerouted other than 26 between Lafayette and Kokomo?
It's similar, I think, to how the plan was when I read the Heartland plan about how it kind of jogged the rail corridor, but also utilizing some of the old 25 right away. Yeah, I think that it would reroute it north of the original 26. So likely 700 or 900 south on the county line. Near the golf course.
So as far as that.
Or north of Rossville even.
As far as that, just from our perspective. So what we would want to be looking towards then would be getting this project in our long-range plan.
Okay.
Which we're certainly happy to do. So we would just kind of need to know that, everyone, since it's crossing a couple counties, right? We would need to know that everyone was on board with like their part of it, right? So, if this is something that you would like to reach out to the mayors about, then I would say just do that and then include us as well.
Okay.
And then, I'm not going to speak for Kokomo, but they may have some other people there that they would want to include. So if we can just get all the players together to discuss this, I could make sure that the appropriate people from our staff were there. 2 or 3 of us. Anyway, I can handle that from our end, but we would just probably want to request about this. Like, hey, this is the idea.
Yeah, and that's it, just getting everybody to the table and exploring it, even if it's feasible. There might not even be enough right away leaving east on 26, or even, it just may not be doable, or somebody doesn't have the appetite to do it.
You got a little inside baseball on this because, they didn't push those poles back 60 or 90 feet because they were not planning to do that.
I thought initially when the 10-year funding plan went out that was part of the goal. When I was with the Region 4 Workforce Board, the conversation became labor and how we're getting labor back and forth and commuting patterns, and that there was a lot of congestion on 26. And how do we relieve that valve? Well, Heartland just got done. So, yeah, I think there was discussion before me about it. And so whatever happened.
Yeah, last I heard about this project was 5 years ago, and it was on the 20-year plan to make it 4 lanes. And my assumption was that when they widened 26 and pushed all that major infrastructure way, way back, that was why. So I'm just like, it's a good idea. It's worth having a discussion about, but I don't know. I don't want to derail or waste time on something. Like if it's, this thing's the cake's already baked. You know what I mean?
Fair. Yeah, I speak from our interest being involved. If it was valuable, is that it makes connecting another 4 lanes south of our community not being disruptive to major metros. Allows for people to want to live here and be able to commute to Kokomo, to Lafayette, to Logansport. So it just kind of creates a better thoroughfare for both, selfishly. But yeah, I think if it's already, I don't know who would end up would you guys be able to know if that was ever a thing?
I'm not aware of it, but that's mostly outside my district.
Okay.
So, it's possible that something that was discussed, but off the top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess LaPorte ends just south of Carroll County, right? So, Carroll,
Kokomo is Greenfield and Lafayette.
Okay, so we would only have to deal with 2 districts. We wouldn't be working into.
There may be some creep into our district, possibly, depending where you guys are, but I'm not sure the route that you're specifically offering. So I'm not aware of myself.
I tried to work a deal initially to get Carroll swapped into Crawfordsville. If we could work a deal with the county up north, but
You don't like us anymore?
No.
We'll sign them.
that was the response I got. Right? I think you were in the meeting,
I
right?
was.
Okay, I remember. I was like, it's not about that. It's
I know.
Just kidding.
So yeah, obviously, again, to wrap this up, since this project is still at very, very early stages, this would kind of be the time to look at potentially getting a long-range plan.
Okay, well, and I'll talk to Commissioner Murtaugh as well, just so that on the county side, and if they look at me crazy or I've got something growing out of my head, maybe it's not something to push forward, but just appreciate the bike train.
We're, like I said, we're willing to sit at the table and discuss. So, of course, there are a lot of powers that be that would have to sign off on that, but, we're happy to do our part. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, 18-month letting list.
Yep. So we did have a few projects that we're able to let here in Carroll County. So we have basically a couple that were bundled together. So the first one is State Road 18 and State Road 218, a small structure pipelining and a HMA overlay. That was awarded to Reeve Riley. Contract completion expected October 31st of this year. And then the other one, which chronologically was first, it was around February, is another bundle along State Road 218, US 421 and State Road 29. So that's a small structure replacement, bridge replacement, small structure maintenance and repair. So this one was awarded to Milestone and is expected to be completed in November this year. So kind of just a lot of infrastructure type of projects. We're getting some investment in those. And then one that's coming up tomorrow, the May 10th levy, is on State Road 18, 0.65 miles east of the junction with State Road 29 West. So that is another bridge project, a substructure repair and rehabilitation.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
It was on State Road 18. It's 0.65 miles east of the junction with State Road 29 West. So then that would be the last one that we'll be letting in this fiscal year. And after that, the next letting would be in July. That would be a State Road 29 project, HMA overlay. So I thought that would kind of be a good spot to kind of leave it at for now, since we're near the end of the fiscal year. But if there are any questions about the list that was distributed in the packet, there's also online.
Yeah, so obviously the bridge over Deer Creek, State Road 25. Does it appear that the funding will remain for that?
I believe so. Last I talked to our team, that believes that will still be open.
We have a really nice trail design to get the bike ped down off of the bridge onto the trails and connect back to our trailhead at Trailhead Park.
Great.
So, yeah. Okay. Anything else?
So that's all that we had. I guess real quick before adjournment. So we are expecting to, if we have one more meeting here, then that we would meet on August 8th. So that'll be the second Tuesday of August there. So I guess it sounds like we'll be here for one more meeting, but like I said, Ari and I will be in touch about trying to maybe rework this and look at this third Thursday option that we were talking about.
Yeah, if you all are fine with it, you could even actually do third Thursday for that next meeting in August. If you're still here and that works for everybody.
Budget planning, by chance, in August? The third
August.
Thursday in August? That's going to be. Or you guys have those on separate dates, the all-day kind of budget session?
Our budget is, our long budget sessions are not on me.
Okay, so,
So it'll be
just
okay.
trying to steer. Like,
No?
next thing you know, they've got the afternoon block to
Yeah.
the budget session.
That would be the 17th of August. It's the third Thursday.
And
So,
I'm perfectly fine doing it at the mayor's office. I mean, if that might be easier, actually.
the council chambers.
So we certainly would be there. It's going to be there. there's, we could eliminate any, I'm gonna say the word not right, but ambiguity with this location. Mayor, you're okay
Yeah.
with taking it on?
Yeah, sure, it wouldn't be an issue, and we do have the same setup in terms of the outlet.
Thanks.
So.
Do you have somebody I can contact to coordinate schedules with for that?
Yes, it'll be Marilyn McKnight who answers the general phone at 209-564-2097.
All right.
And I'll give her a heads up that we might be looking at that date. So it would be, the 8th would be the Tuesday, or possibly the 10th if Thursday is a better.
17th, yeah, not the 10th. It would be the third Thursday.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. We will coordinate ahead of time to make sure everybody's on the same page, so. I'll reach out to Marilyn and we'll send out emails to everybody and make sure that we're all on the same page, so. All right.
If there's no other business.
So you'll be amending the invitation?
What's that?
You'll amend the invitation or update the invitation with the new venue and everything?
Yes.
Great. Not try to butcher it then.
We entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Three, I think.
second.
4, yeah.
So without objection, we are adjourned at, whatever it is.
3:54.
Thank you all, and wow, the floor.
Thank you, all right.
How about that?
Keeper could help us with this? With the 26th stuff?